Hey there, it's Katie from Health, Wellness, and Chocolate. So today I wanted to talk about some examples to see how you are soothing with food. But I wanted to tell you a totally awesome and amazing story of my own personal life. And I don't want you to get jealous. And then you can totally see why. I don't know why I don't drink all day, but so this happened, and this is a true story. So, and this happened within, I don't know, maybe 5 minutes. And here's the thing. I was talking to my husband about this. I said, sometimes I feel like if you've ever seen the movie A Christmas Story, when everything is awesome and right in the world and the smell of turkey is wafting in, and all of a sudden the Bumpus's dogs break through the screen door and they devour the turkey, and there's just a carcass and a mess and like the smell of turkey lingering in the air, but there's just like, it's decay and disgust, and it's just throughout the land, and it's like, oh, all my hopes and dreams are gone. That is kind of the experience I had the other day. And I thought, you know what, I have to share this because I think you can totally relate to it and totally understand like why sometimes it's just so much nicer to just have chocolate. So I thought, okay, I have to share this with the ladies because I know they'll get it, especially the moms out there, right? So a few things happen, right? So first thing is we homeschool. And so at the beginning of the school year, the math program that we used, my third grader who used the third grade, their discs, all of the discs were scratched. So there's 4 for third grade for this math program that we use. It's called Teaching Textbooks. They were all scratched. So you can replace each disc for $15 or buy a whole new set for like $120. So I'm like, I'll just replace each disc. I already bought it and they'll let me replace all 4. So it would be, what was it? So $60 as opposed, it'd be like half the price. So I'm like, I have to do it. We need math for the school year for my third grader. So fine. Get all new discs. We're ready to rock and roll in August when we start school. So a couple weeks ago, he's like, Mom, I can't find disc 2, and I'm getting close to finishing disc 1 because each disc has like 30 or 40 lessons on it, right? And so we've been doing school since August, so kind of like what's time to get to the next disc? He's like, I can't find it. I'm like, well, it's got to be here somewhere. We don't travel with them, and so we'll just have to find it. I'm not going to order another new disc. I just ordered it like 6 weeks ago. I looked everywhere. I emptied my bookshelves. I looked under the couch. I looked in their bedroom, but they have like in our dining room on our computer. We keep the computer like just on the counter in the dining room because it's a laptop and the kids would drop it if we moved it around and stuff like that. So it really kind of just stays there and they just do their math there. And I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere. They even have school bins where we keep their discs. Like it was not to be found. I do not know where it was. So finally, I break down last Friday. He's like, I have one class left and then it's time for, or last Thursday, right? He's like, I have one class left and then it's time for the new disc. And that would have been Monday. So I'm like, well, all right, fine. I'll just order it because I don't really want you to miss school. And it takes a couple of days for them to ship it. So I go ahead, I break down and spend the $15 again and order the disc. And then don't you know, like later that day, my husband's like, oh, is somebody missing a math disc? I'm like, you're joking? He's like, no, I found it was on the floor of our bedroom. I'm like, how? First of all, how is that possible? I have it was not on our bedroom floor. Like you would totally notice a disc on your bedroom floor. He's like, no, I was under our bed looking for something that was under there. And he's like, I pulled out something and the disc came with it. I'm like, how is that even like that doesn't even make sense in my brain. Like that is like something that happened, but fine, whatever. We have the disc and another one came, which consequently, even as of this morning, my son comes up and knocks on the bathroom door as I was getting ready to record this. And he says, Mom, the disc 2 broke, the one that I had. It's all scratched and broken. So I'm like, oh, well, it just so happens I have the disc. So go ahead and open up the next disc and use that one. So it worked out, ironically, but still annoying, All right. So that was the first thing that happened. So we have chickens. I don't know if I've ever shared that with you. I may have, right? So as science a few years ago when COVID hit, we went to our local farm. We borrowed an incubator from our friends. We got some fertilized eggs and we hatched our own chickens. And we have a chicken coop. And it's like been a really cool way for the kids to learn science. And also we didn't know when COVID was hitting, like how bad supplies would get and that kind of thing. So we're like, oh, at least we'll be able to have eggs and we'd have meat and stuff if we needed it. So we have our chickens and we have a new puppy. Our puppy is like a 6-month-old golden retriever now. She is absolutely adorable, but she thinks it's her job to bring us the chickens, which it's like not good. So we have the chickens completely enclosed, but she must have figured out there was a soft spot or a soft area, which is good to know so we can repair it. But in the meantime, we didn't know it was there, and she was getting in the coop and then chasing the poor little chickens around. And I hear a chicken really close to the house. It turns out she had gone in and took a chicken and was bringing it to us, thinking she's this awesome, amazing dog giving us something amazing. It was a mess, though. The poor bird was like she's fine now, but when she was so exhausted from trying to escape from Mabel, our puppy, and Mabel is a full retriever, so she just thinks this is her job. You know, she thinks she's doing us amazing things, right? Like we should be so proud of her. But this poor chicken. So we got the chicken back in the coop, but in the meantime, Mabel rolled around in the chicken coop. It had just rained, and so we usually we usually put down fresh hay in our chicken coop, but it had just rained, so we were doing it the next day. So this day that she rolled around in the chicken coop, she got chicken all over her, and she smelled so bad. But she ran in the house while we were busy putting the chicken back in the coop and trying to shore up the coop, and she went all over my couch cushions. So the dog reeks, and the couch cushions are a total mess, right? So I had to strip the couch cushions, give the dog a bath, strip the couch cushions, put them in the wash. So while I'm bringing all the couch cushions down, so I guess this did take longer than like 5 minutes, but it felt like 30 seconds, right? So strip all the couch cushions off. We have a sectional couch, so because there's 10 of us here, so the couch is big. So I took all the couch cushions off and threw the covers in the wash. And then I start smelling poop. And I'm like, oh, what else happened? Like, what is going on? So I'm looking around, and I was like checking my shoes, like, what is happening? So I go upstairs, and at the very top of the stairs, because our washing machine and stuff is in our basement, there's a dirty diaper from my 2-year-old. He pooped and took it off. So now I'm in full panic mode, because there's nothing more dangerous than your dirty butt child running through your house. So like, where did he go? Okay, I just ran downstairs really quick. Where is he? So I'm looking for him. Sure enough, he's on my bed, jumping on my bed, rolling on my bed with a Sharpie marker and a poopy hiney. I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I had to strip my bed, bring that down, put that on deck for when the couch cushions were finished being washed and I could move everything over. So like within a matter of minutes, I had like tons of laundry to do. And like, is this real life? Like, you've got to be kidding me. Not to mention he had a Sharpie, which is like every mom's worst nightmare. And so, it's just like, it was quiet for like, I don't know, we were having tea and coffee and just discussing our day, and all of a sudden, like, the world exploded around us, and just like all this chaos ensued, and it was like over and done with. And I'm like, what just happened? It was just one thing after the next. Like, the baby needed a bath, the dog needed a bath, the cushions needed to be washed, the floor needed to be mopped. Like, everything that could have happened, happened. It was disgusting. And it was all disgusting. And I thought, if ever there was a time to like just indulge and have some chocolate just to feel better, it would have been right then and there. It was 9 a.m., but still, it would have been awesome, right? And I just felt like, sometimes food really is soothing. And sometimes you just want to eat, even if it's not the best thing for you. But what I wanted to do today was just like kind of help you. But first of all, share that story. So like, solidarity, sisters, you are not alone. This mom thing. And so if you want to have that glass of wine and that chocolate at night because you survived another day, sometimes I feel you. I really do. But I just wanted to kind of show you, like, sometimes your brain is going to offer that as like, hey, you just survived the day and you really deserve to have something very indulgent because you deserve it, right? And so like we're not animals, right? Like we don't need treats for doing things that are good or things that are hard and getting above them. But there is actually brain chemistry involved in like soothing yourself with food and making yourself feel better. So I thought I'd kind of give you a few instances besides my lovely day the other day. And I promise all of that is true and all of it happened in that order. I was like, this is like a sitcom, like a horrible, horrible, smelly sitcom. It was terrible. I just was like, you have got to be kidding me. This is my real life. This is, so don't be jealous, but that's it. That's my life, everybody, right? So what I wanted to kind of tell you was like there are some indications like that you can kind of check in with yourself and say, okay, do I use food to soothe myself? And maybe I just don't even realize it, right? Because I'm just trying to even avoid the emotions. Or you could say, no, I'm not really an emotional person, but at the end of the day, you might just be numbing yourself with food or even doing it throughout the day so you don't feel your emotions, and you might come off as very even keeled, but inside you're pretty tumultuous, but you're using food to kind of numb it. So I kind of wanted to pull up a few pointers and let you know, like there is, and I think we've talked about this too, is like there is like this dopamine and serotonin release that you get when you eat something that will help soothe you. Your brain will release serotonin, which are those feel-good endorphins, and it will release dopamine. And so that, even that act of having it and then having your body release the chemicals, it kind of reinforces that neural pathway. Like, yes, food will help me feel better because look, it just did. And then your brain's like, okay, I don't have to think about this next time. I'll just let her know when she's feeling this feeling that we use this to make ourselves feel better. And it worked, right? And so, because your brain, remember, your brain seeks pleasure, avoids pain, goes the easiest route. Even if it's not the best thing for you, it just conserves energy. And that's just like what it does, right? So you want to pay attention to that, because if you think like, well, I just need to lose a few pounds, and then you just try a diet and then realize, wait a second, this is so hard, you're really fighting against your brain. And until you kind of uncover that, dieting and food, like all that stuff's going to feel so hard and so elusive, and you're going to have to like white knuckle it until life is going to become, like your coping mechanism is food. And if you don't kind of recognize it and manage it and learn other tools besides food to soothe, it will eventually become impossible, and you'll stop the diet and you'll gain all the weight back, and you'll just revert back to your old habits because you've never dealt with the habits that got you the results you have now in your life, right? So like it's important to do the work. Like that's exactly what we teach in the Wellness Blueprint, is like, okay, this is what you need to learn. This is who you need to be in order to have sustained weight loss. It's really not about what food plan you choose or how many calories. It's really about the habits that you're doing and the behaviors that you're doing that are affecting your results, and that are creating the results that you have in your life right now. And so that's kind of like the whole premise of health, wellness, and chocolate in the first place, right? It's really about behavior change, so that who you are when you're done is someone completely different, and it'll affect every area of your life, as just opposed to like, I'll just pick this diet, or I'll just go paleo now, right? Or well, I'll do low carb, or let me try this, and you think like that diet is the one you're looking for, where it has nothing to do with the diet and everything to do with the way your brain is treating you, or the way your brain is telling you. And once you acknowledge that and learn about the brain part, then weight loss kind of becomes not easy, but simple, right? So give some thought to that and really start trying to think like, okay, if that's me, Katie can help me, and I'm going to reach out, and totally reach out to me. Let me know what's going on with you, and I will be happy to talk to you and chat with you and see how I can help you. Totally here. Okay. That's why we did health, wellness, and chocolate. But anyway, so I already touched on one of the indicators, but if you use food to regulate you, like, so if something stressful happens and you're like, I just really want to eat this, I know I'll feel better, that's totally like one way you're using food. And that might be pretty obvious and you recognize that. If you feel better when you're eating, that's another indication. Okay. If you find yourself, like I said earlier, like grazing throughout the whole day, just so you can kind of manage your mood. So if you're at work and you're constantly chewing to make yourself feel better, that's definitely a sign that you're using food to soothe yourself. Or have you ever had this happen? Like you want something to eat and you kind of open the fridge and you look through it and there's nothing, like you're really looking, you're not sure what you're looking for, but you'll know it when you see it, and like then you'll eat, right? Like that's kind of an indicator too that you're using food to soothe. It's like, I don't know what I want, but when I find it, then I'll know that's what I want. It's something very specific to satisfy you, but you're not quite sure what it is. So you just keep searching for it. And it's not like a carrot stick or an apple. Like it's something rich or something very with a lot, I don't know, like a lot of mouthfeel or something like that, right? Or you just start munching on something because you haven't figured out what you want to eat yet, right? Or like say if you start cooking dinner and like while you're cooking, you're just eating the whole time. And then dinner comes and then you just eat dinner too, right? Like that is definitely something you're probably doing with it when it comes to soothing. If you start eating, so for like me, and I've shared this so many times, but like that 4 o'clock in the afternoon, those chocolate chips were irresistible, right? But I would feel better after I had them because it was like, okay, it was almost like a reward or a pause in my day where I finally could catch my breath and do something for myself, right? After serving the kids all day in their thing, it was finally like, oh, okay, now I get to do something for me. Unfortunately, the something for me was the chocolate chips. But now that I recognize that that's what I do, it's like, okay, I don't have to do that anymore. I can go for a walk outside. I can read a good book. I can do something else besides eating that's going to serve me and help me feel just as good. But my automatic default is have those chocolate chips because that's what worked last time, right? And that's what your brain will just tell you. So if you feel a relief while you're eating or just this sense of like, okay, you feel calmer when you're done, that's definitely an indication that food, you do use food to serve you also, or to soothe you. And then if you feel like this intense, like I have to have something in my mouth right now, like this intense feeling, that's definitely something. For me, and we talk about this so much, it's like your brain will interpret any emotion as hunger, right? Like, and I've explained this before, I believe in the very first few episodes. So we talk about your brain, and I just said it, your brain will, because you'll have the dopamine and the serotonin and there is a release when you have some kind of treat, your brain will automatically kind of log that and say, okay, I know how to help her next time. I know if I eat something, I will feel better, right? And so your brain will recognize that. And so it'll tell you, it'll shortcut and it'll say, oh, she's feeling this feeling and I know giving her food will help her feel better. I'm going to tell her she's hungry. And you actually will feel hunger. That happened so often to me. I would have that emotion. And once I started recognize this, my stomach would growl. And I would have to tell my brain, like, I know I'm not hungry. I just ate a little while ago. And I'd actually feel the air move in my stomach and go away. I was like, that is crazy. But it was true. Like that's what actually happened. So it felt so real. Like it felt like biological hunger. So I never questioned it. I was like, no, my stomach's growling. Of course I'm hungry. But it was actually my brain like sending out the signals, time to eat, because that's what it knew to do. And so it was kind of crazy once I learned this, like, I can totally subvert this because I know now what my brain is doing. And once that happened, the first week I started doing that, I lost 8 pounds. I was like, what? This is crazy. I didn't diet. I just started paying attention to when my brain was saying, Katie, it's time to eat, versus me saying, no, I just had something to eat. I know I'm not hungry, and not eating, not responding with food, but trying to figure out like, well, why do I feel hungry right now? I know it's not for food, and like getting down to the heart of the issue. That first week I was down 8 pounds, and it took me months to lose just 1. So for me to have lost 8 the first week was crazy. I'm like, what in the world? That has never happened before without like, it had never happened before, so that was so crazy. And so even if, and you might find yourself like, so if you're around someone who really agitates you and all of a sudden when they finally leave and you feel like, I just need to eat something, right? Like, or something stressful happens and you immediately feel hungry. Those are some good indications that food is you're using food to kind of help make yourself feel better. Or you could be saying like, oh, I'm going to, like this time of year, especially, like I am going to totally, when the kids go to bed, have some of their Halloween candy because it has been a long day, right? So like that is totally something that would be an indication that food is soothing. Or if maybe the house is quiet and there's nothing going on and you feel like, okay, I should be doing something. And then your brain's like, why don't you go eat? Like if you're bored and you start eating, or maybe you're at work and work is pretty boring or unfulfilling. And it's like, well, I'll go eat something. At least it's something to do. It'll pass the time and make it go quicker. That is totally an indication that you're using food to stave off boredom, or just feeling to help yourself feel better. There's another one too. Like if you feel like you are, like maybe you're feeling emotionally empty, maybe you have needs that you're just not meeting, or you're not aware of it. Maybe you're lacking connection with friends. I know during COVID, that was something that came up, like loneliness and isolation. And there's like that quarantine 15 that everybody put on, like it's a real thing. And it's, maybe you're bored or lonely or anxious, or, just feeling like unsure about the future and scared and insecure. Those are all, like, using food to soothe all those emotions is totally legitimate, because gosh, no one ever in this earth right now lived through like a pandemic like that, right? So like you would definitely try to fill up that empty feeling or that unpleasant feeling with food. If you're looking for a specific food, like if you say, I have to have, I don't know, let's just say, for example, like I have to eat these Sour Patch Kids because when I do, I just finally have enough energy to go through the last like home stretch of my day, right? So like if you're seeking a particular kind of food that is like very specific, and you're using that especially to help you change your mood or to kind of give you an energy boost or something, that is probably an indication too. Or if you tend to overeat at like certain events, that may be like, maybe you have social anxiety, and so you will overeat at events, rather like filling your mouth with food rather than having to make conversation with people, or giving you something to do and focus on as opposed to having to be social or to help you just feel better. And so you'll find like you overeat, because you don't know what else to do. I don't know what to do with my hands or my mouth, and I don't want to make small talk. I find that exhausting, so I'll just eat, right? Like if you find yourself saying stuff like that, that's probably an indication too that you're using food to soothe yourself. Or you could even do it at the holidays, or maybe at like business meetings or dinner parties, those kinds of events. And the last one would be like, if you have something and then you immediately regret it, that is probably an indication too that you're using food for emotional reasons. So, for me, Friday nights or even Saturday nights, it was like our reward. Like we were all home, let's get Dairy Queen, and I'd get that big blizzard, and it would never feel like enough, right? Like there was no blizzard big enough to satisfy. But immediately when it was over, it was like, oh, why did I eat so much? And I still want more, but, it didn't even taste that good, or I don't know, it didn't have as much candy in it as the one I had the other day, or whatever, like if you always, and then you regret doing it, like, oh, well, there I go again. I might as well start over on Monday and just call tomorrow a waste too, and just start the diet again, So if you like do that and then you regret it, like, so if you eat something that is very indulgent, and then immediately you regret it or you have remorse about it, that is definitely an indication that you're probably using it for not nourishment, but food instead, or you're using it for emotional regulation as opposed to using it for nourishment. But anyway, that's what I had for you this week. So I hope you can kind of check in and see what you identify with, but definitely take the time then to start understanding, like, okay, let me check out what my brain is doing. And then if you want help, especially through the holidays, I'll link it here in the show notes, but reach out. I can work with you one-on-one. I do have a couple spots open. We can get you through the holidays and set up for the new year. We could talk weekly. I could be your accountability partner. I can help you navigate those holiday parties or any of those weird situations. And you would have immediate access to the blueprint too. That would come along with the one-on-one coaching. But I'll link up a link into the show notes that can, you can send me an email and, just follow the link and the prompts, and we'll get started with that. All right. So you take care. Have an awesome week. I hope it's a lot calmer than my week, and just to have an awesome, awesome day. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.